So we've defined the three categories: outcome, where someone is saying I want X; problem, where someone is saying, well, it's all shit and I'm miserable about it; and you've got the remedy category, where they're saying I don't want whatever it is. Now, where you go from there obviously depends on your context. I was working with some IT professionals in Prague a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of their business is about diagnosing problems in systems, and they were using the clean language questions to investigate problems, perfectly legitimately. But in coaching, typically we want to shift the person's attention, at least initially, to the outcome. It's like my friend Jamie Smart says, you don't go to the supermarket with a list of all the things you don't want. You go with a list of the things you do want, and then it's straightforward to put them into your trolley. So when we're coaching someone, we want to pull their attention to the outcome side. And the clean language questions and the PRO model provide a really elegant and simple way of doing that. Now, as you've already learned the power switch, you already have a head start on this. So, outcome. When someone's already talking about what they want or want more of, you know what to do. You ask clean language questions about the outcome. You develop the outcome. You get to a place where both the client and you could draw their outcome. It becomes real, becomes more desirable, becomes more possible. So you're probably using the two lazy Jedi questions and the where questions. Straightforward? Okay, so problem category, that category where people are just mired in general unpleasantness, is where you use the power switch question in this model. So you use, and when problem, what would you like to have happen? So, and when you're miserable and lonely, what would you like to have happen? When you're just getting in a mess with what you're trying to learn, what would you like to have happen? Straightforward. So the remedy category is where it gets a bit interesting, where you do a bit of a shimmy that you don't do anywhere else in the clean language world. So say someone said, I don't want to be lonely anymore. So that's a remedy because they've said, I don't want. Listening for those words, I don't want. Get to remedy. So they've said, I don't want to be lonely anymore. You sort of pretend they've got it and ask it like this. And you don't want to be lonely anymore. And when you're not lonely anymore, then what happens? Let's try another one. I don't want the house to be in a mess. And you don't want the house to be in a mess. And when the house is not in a mess, then what happens? You see how that works? It pulls your attention towards the outcome side. Quite a subtle and gentle way, but it just works. So you've got three categories of things people might say, typically in response to, and what would you like to have happen? You've got problem, where they're just mired in stuff. You've got outcome, where they're clear about what they want, or at least initially starting to say, I think I might maybe be starting to be clear. And then you've got your remedy, your middle category. And you've got the three different ways of responding. You've got the power switch for the problem, and what and when problem, what would you like to have happen? For outcome, you develop using the lazy Jedi questions and where. And for remedy, it's and when you haven't got that anymore, then what happens? Now, this piece of the clean language lexicon, I think more than any other, really benefits, well, you will really benefit if you're able to practice this with a partner. because there's nothing quite like experiencing the impact of those questions on stuff you're talking about, stuff that's really important to you, and seeing how your attention shifts as a result. So I would really encourage you to get hold of a friend, get them onto the site, get them to watch this video, and ask them to ask you the questions in response to different categories of things that you say, and notice what happens.